Welcome back, adventurers, once again to Let's Play Chaos Head. In the last episode, Takumi learned something rather disquieting from Kozue regarding the mysterious homeless man who seemed to know a lot about D-swords, relating to the fact that there are people like Kozue out there, such as Sena and Ayase. But he also cryptically said that the most unique of them was the one who originally gave rise to the idea of whose eyes are those eyes, which understandably is distressing to Takumi because, as far as he can remember, the only one from his childhood to ever use that particular phrase was himself. Though as of yet he is still entirely unsure as to what kind of connection the phrase "whose eyes are those eyes" actually has in this situation. But as if to break his tension, Kozue noticed Sena loitering around the streets of Shibuya, and, well, let's just say the three of them are pretty much spending the afternoon having an ice cream social. Yeah. Kozue really did seem overjoyed. Sena, on the other hand, wore an indifferent look. That's because she's concentrating on eating her popsicle. Not really sure why it's called Crunchy-kun, other than the fact that it's obviously crunchy, of course. Of course it is, because it's a popsicle. I was going out of my mind. The police officer on duty was right in front of our eyes. Let's just said my there. Despite that, he showed zero indication of paying any attention to the two girls who are presently breaking the swords and firearms control law. I think Remy brought that up in regard to D-swords, but or swords in general, but this pretty much alludes to what Sena and Ayase was saying, that, and by extension Kozue, that only certain people can see the D-swords in question. He was a policeman, for Pete's sake. He could obviously see us, yet he didn't pay them any heed, much less arrest them. I think now would be a good time to jump in with your thoughts on the matter, Kozue.
食べないの？
When Kozue pointed it out, I helplessly bent to my Crunchy-kun. The gaze of those around us bothered me. Sena and Kozue were cute, the spectacle of two cute flat-chested sisters eating together with a creepy otaku. And on top of that, with all of us eating Crunchy-kuns under the cold open sky, it was so surreal we couldn't avoid standing out. Was I being overly self-conscious? Yes and no. I constantly heard taunting snickers. A hallucination? Or was it just Kozue laughing? I didn't want to be conspicuous. I didn't want anyone to look at me. My fear of others' gazes. I should have put a hat on or something. That would only make them look even more. In any case, I wanted to get out of here ASAP. As I desperately kept on eating my Crunchy-kun with that goal in mind, my body went chilly. This was totally going to give me diarrhea. I've wondered if the two of them weren't cold. They don't seem to be.
で、梢。なぜこいつと一緒なんだ？こいつじゃなくて、たくみさんですよ。
I don't think Sena cares in the slightest.
たくみさんが悪い人にいじめられてて倒れてたのら。だからコズピーが介抱してあげたの。
She tended to me. That's a pretty low-key way of putting it.
ディソードを使ったのか？殺したかったとかバキって。
Kozue appeared to be gesturing to illustrate what she was saying. But because enormous D-sword occupied her left hand, she had to wave her spare hand around. But that one, of course, was holding a Crunchy-kun. Oh dear. Kozube's Crunchy-kun, from which she'd only taken a single bite, flew away in a perfect arc. It hit the middle of the road and splattered. Unfortunate. Kozue stared at its remnants, looking as if she were about to burst out crying.
うかつな真似は避けろと言っただろ。
ごめんなさい。もったいないお化けが出ちゃう。
アイスのことじゃない。ディソードのことだ。
Though the sentiment could apply to both. Sena handed Kozue the Crunchy-kun she'd been eating. Apparently she was giving it to her. As she took it, Kozue went all shy and bowed her head. To think that Sena could be so kind. How unexpected.
でも悪い人には罰ゲームをするのが当たり前だよ。
Who was it? Who had enveloped those pricks in a bloodbath? Kozue, perhaps? Or me? Gonna go with the former here, Takumi. Not gonna lie.
たくみさんセナさんはねすごく何でも知ってるんだよ。
I know she knows quite a bit.
リソードっていう名前もセナさんに教えてもらったのら。あとリアルブータ。あれれブッダ
リアルブート。
あ、そうそう。
Was it? I never heard of those words before. The same was true of that Gigolo whatever from before. Referring, of course, to Gigolo-maniacs.
リアルブートしてない件は誰にも見えなかったはずなのにね。セナさんにだけ見えてたの。
Ah, so that explains how Sena was able to manifest her sword in reality.
リソードが見える人に会ったのセナさんが初めてだったんだ。
Does that mean that the homeless man was the second person to see your sword?
その時はほひゃーって思ってなんで見えるんですかって聞いちゃった。ギガロマニアックスだからなんだって。
ギガロマニアックスって何なの？
I think the answer to that question, yet again, lies at the heart of this entire ordeal.
さっき言ったのら。
I think there's a little bit more to it than just being able to see other people's D-swords.
剣が見える人だよ。
No, in greater detail. Like the principle of how it works. I think the only person that can answer that is Sena.
ディラックの海に干渉できる力を持つ者。
The Dirac Sea. That isn't actually referring to an ocean.
それがギガロマニアックスだ。
Sena answered instead.
ディラックの海。
Sena cast a scornful glance at me as I tilted my head. Why are you looking at me like that? Contrary to appearances, I'm pretty damn smart. I sort of remembered about the Dirac Sea being a concept in quantum mechanics. Not that I would know anything about quantum mechanics in general.
負のエネルギーでいっぱいに満たされた観測不能の境界面とかだっけ？
Now this is actually lining up with what the homeless man told Kozue in her little recollection story.
大雑把に言えばそんなようなものだ。そして そこに干渉するための端末がディソード。ディラックの海に突っ込んだパイプの先端と考えればいい。
Well, that's vague, but a little bit more insightful than Ayase's explanations.
ディラックの海とつながっているから、ディソードも負の物質で構成されている。無限に崩壊している存在なんだ。
Negative matter.
だから普段は普通の人間には触れることも見ることもできない妄想のようなものでしかない。
So they are a delusion and yet not.
このディソードこそあらゆるリアルブートのためのショートカット的役割を果たす。
I think the dominoes are beginning to fall into place to explain the phenomena that Takumi himself experienced as well, with his own delusions.
ディソードとディラックの海とのチャネルを大きくすることで、ディラック方程式の空港理論によって対生成が起き、粒子と反粒子を作り出せる。
I've never read the Dirac equation before, so I'm only following what Sena is talking about.
この粒子がギガロマニアックスが生み出す妄想、世界にとってのエラー。そのエラーを現実とするには、作り出した粒子を他人のデッドスポットに送り込めばいい。
And this can be done in either two ways. Either, well, supposedly with somebody with Takumi's implied power, or an artificial device like Noah 2 developed by Nozomi.
粒子は即座に電気信号に変換され、周囲の人間に共通の認識、現実として成立する。逆に消したいときは粒子を送り込んだデッドスポットに今度は反粒子を送り込み追消滅してやればいい。
Yeah, Kozue is having a really hard time keeping up with all this. Come to think of it, in the past Sena had said,
世界の仕組みは3つの数字で全て説明できる。0と1、そしてマイナス1。ディソードはそのマイナス1を生み出すためのショートカットになる。
my head was getting all tangled up here.
周囲の人間に共通の認識となると妄想が現実になるってどういうこと？
In a manner of speaking.
例えばお前が今手にしているガルガリ君、お前にはどう見える？
どうって水色をしたアイス。
その水色のアイスは本当に現実だと証明できるか？
A Crunchikun was a Crunchikun, was it? Wasn't it? You could tell with a glance and it'd be cold if you ate it. I thought that sort of thing was obvious, but... However, Sena does have a point.
人は目で見たものを脳が認識して初めてそれが水色のアイスと理解できる。でも脳が本人の意識しないままに嘘をついている可能性だってあるんだぞ。脳が生み出した自分一人だけがそう思い込んでいる妄想かもしれないんだ。
じゃあどうやって現実だって証明するの？
他の人もお前の持っているものが水色のアイスであると観測すれば、それは2人以上の人間の共通の認識となる。お前一人だけの妄想じゃなくなるんだ。妄想を現実にするときにはそれを逆説的に捉えればいい。
In short, if you coercively showed your solitary delusions, the particles formed by your D-sword, to the people in your surroundings, they will become real. Except in Takumi's instance, there is one notable exception to this rule. And did I have that ability as well?
うずぴさっぱ
And Kozue's still lost.
り。とにかくこの剣は普通の人には見えないの。
Kozue gave Sena her crunchy-kun back, then tripped out onto the road. She stood in front of the people walking along the street, and with a sudden, who knows what she was thinking, or all of a sudden, started taking huge swings with her D-sword.
やめ
I covered my eyes. She'd finally shown her true colors. In truth, she'd been a heinous murderer all along. The road would now be a sea of blood. If someone were cut down by that colossal sword, their torso would be divided straight in two. Kozue was going to get caught red-handed. After all, the box was right beside us. The police officer would clearly witness it.
たくみさん、そんなことにはなってないよ。
I wondered why it was so quiet, even though people were getting slashed up by a sword in the middle of Shibuya in broad daylight. No one was screaming. I didn't hear the policeman yelling either. I gradually opened my eyes. Nothing had happened. Kozue continued swinging her gigantic sword around, although she seemed a bit embarrassed. It was clearly hitting passers-by, the roadside fence, the ground, and so forth, yet nothing happened. She didn't cut anything. For that matter, her sword was passing clean through things, almost as if they were illusions. Or perhaps the reverse. Indeed, it is the reverse. The sword itself had no substance. The people walking in the area didn't stir whatsoever. They couldn't see her sword. They just see Kozue just dancing around, holding nothing, swinging at nothing. And I imagine the police officer in the box is probably a little amused if confused by Kozue's antics.
ピンポンピンポーン。理想度は妄想の剣なのだ。
As she mentioned it, Ayase had said something similar before, like the swords only appear in the eyes of those with the power. Beside me, Sena let out a weary sigh and bit her crunchy-kun.
あのディソードは今は梢の作ったエラーでしかない。周囲共通認識はまだ成立していない。
And yet somehow Kozue, Sena, and Takumi all have shared recognition.
リアルブートしたらみんなに見えるようになるのです。
Real boot. Was that the act of sending particles into nearby people's dead spots? Which wasn't to say that I understood what a dead spot was.
ズシャーってしたり、ドガーってできるようにもなるよ。
Please explain it with something easier to understand than sound effects. But I grasped the basic nuances of what she meant. Slish slash probably signified cutting with her sword, then boom crash would be hitting. What exactly was she cutting and hitting? Did Kozue do such frightening things? Me too. Did I possess a power like that? No, I'm not unique. I'm not a gigalomaniac. Unfortunately, I would beg to differ. Because after all, I'd failed to acquire a D-sword, and yet...
剣は見えたよね。だからそのうち匠さんも持てるの。
It's impossible. It had been impossible even up on O-Front. I'd seen the sword, but I hadn't understood how to take hold of it.
どうやって手に入れるかっていうと。
I'm sure Kozue can answer that. Kozue put a finger in her mouth and looked at Sena. Sena sighed again.
バイオリズムの上昇によって中脳変影系ニューロンのドーパミンが過剰分泌された時、ディソードが現れる。それは危機的な状況や興奮、悲しみ、憎しみ、 笑いなど人それぞれだ。ドーパミン分泌量が多ければそれだけ観測しやすくなる。
匠さん、そういうことなのら。
The breadth of Sena's knowledge was aberrant. Maybe she was unbelievably intelligent. More than that, she knew so much about it that she practically came across as a gigalomaniac scholar or something. First of all, even if she searched all through Japan, you'd have a hard time finding a high school girl capable of discussing such complex theories and technical terminology off the top of her head. The only other equivalent would be Kurusu Makase, who is still currently spending her time over at Victor Convoy University as an aspiring researcher. Where on earth had she studied this? That, Takumi Nishijo, is an excellent question. Why were such mysterious personages gathering around me? Somebody, show me the answer. I'm too tired of pondering it. It revolted me to remain in this state of half-understanding, but I didn't feel like researching the rest myself, because, come on, everyone, none of them are normal. Embracing my bitter thoughts, I took one last mouthful of my melting ice, crunchy-kun.
あ、当たりだ。
A popsicle stick was carved with the word winner. Kozue came back and took a look at my hand. Well, at least won something.
匠さん、すっごいね。
大した運だな。
セナさん、自分も当たりが出てほしかったって羨ましがってるのら。
Probably shouldn't have blurted that aloud.
そんなことは思っていない。
I don't think you can fool Kozue that easily. After all, she'll just read everything you're thinking.
セナさんはいつも当たりが出ないかなとワクワクしながらガルガリ君を食べてるのら。
I think anyone can understand that sentiment.
当たりを引いたのはどれくらい？
1割3分7厘。
She really had it down. Did she recalculate it every time she ate one? Sena too had finished eating her crunchy-kun. She stared intently at the remaining stick, then let out a small snort. She'd drawn a blank, going by her face. Alas. Unfortunate.
よかったらどうぞ。
And, seems like Takumi's biorhythms are sort of going into overdrive yet again, which will bring this episode of Let's Play ChäoS to an end. And when we return, adventurers, we shall see just how this situation unfolds in time and space. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.